What's good, YouTube? This is RPU here, and I'm back again with another video. And guys, I got one word for you. Algomint. $ go mint, man. So, I was already bullish on Algomint. But after listening to this interview that I'm going to share with you, I now understand that this core piece of infrastructure is bigger than I imagined. So, Michael Cotton is the founder of Algomint. But he is also the mastermind behind Mel Gold, tokenized gold on the Algorand blockchain. Mel Gold is the biggest gold company in Australia. That's crazy. I talked about Mel Gold in my Algorand master plan video, and I didn't even know Michael Cotton was the founder of Mel Gold this whole time. That's crazy. Just doing a little bit of research, Blows your mind. So, AJ Milne is also a founder of Algomint, who has served in leadership roles at a global fintech, a corporate venture capitalist fund, and a peer-to-peer marketplace, along with Harry Zhu, who studied at MIT directly under Silvio McCallie, and Misa Zhang, who worked for Swift and the Dow Jones. Algomint has a solid team of developers with experience in blockchain and financial markets, serving as a gateway to the Algorand blockchain. This bridge, once fully implemented, will allow you to port over any asset of value, cryptocurrencies from other blockchains, stablecoins, tokenized gold, and even NFTs, which can be used in play to earn dApps on the Algorand blockchain. That sounds crazy. But this is the future. This is the internet of value. Anything of value will be able to be ported over, leveraged, lent out, and borrowed against. That's crazy, huh? But that's just the future. So here are some of the highlights of this interview that I want to point out to you. Algorand is coming to Ethereum, giving Algorand cross-chain interoperability. We're going to see a ERC-20 representation of Algorand, which can be used in DeFi apps on the Ethereum blockchain, such as Aave, which I'm a fan of. I'm just not a fan of Ethereum's gas fees, right? Next, Helium and ERC-20 tokens are coming to Algorand, such as Aave and Curve and many more. Imagine being able to utilize the value of your Aave tokens without the outrageous Ethereum gas fees. There's going to be a whole lot of value coming to the Algorand blockchain. Next, a basket of stablecoins are coming to Algorand with direct bridging to reduce gas fees dramatically. So, through Algomint, you will be able to trade Gemini dollars to Go USDC directly without having to wrap your tokens, reducing gas fees dramatically. The gas fees on the Algorand blockchain are 1,000 times cheaper than Ethereum. And that's why there's going to be a wave of value coming to the Algorand blockchain this year. This year, 2022, is the dawn of Algorand DeFi. Next, this part blew my mind right here. He said, tokenized gold, gold, and a basket of gold tokens are coming to Algorand, which can be used directly in money markets like AlgoFi. That's crazy. AlgoFi is the only automated money market on the Algorand blockchain. And just imagine you have Go Gold, or I just found out that Tether has a gold-backed stablecoin. They have a stable coin. I think it's like USD gold or something like that. It's crazy, right? But you will be able to port tokens like Go Gold, Tether's gold token, maybe Paxos, right, over to Algorand and utilize them in automated money markets like AlgoFi. So like, let's say you lent out the value of your gold tokens and you're earning interest on that gold. That's crazy. That's crazy. You know? But this is the future. Man, that's so cool. Like, I gotta get some more Algorand. Now, he said Algorand will be built into the infrastructure of other blockchains, providing a seamless experience of the minting process. So, Algomint is going to be like at the center of the core infrastructure for a lot of platforms, because Algorand is like, it's a great blockchain. It's pure proof of stake. It's carbon negative. It's a green blockchain, and its gas fees are 1,000 times cheaper than Ethereum. And so Algomint is going to bring so much value to the Algorand blockchain. Michael Cotton, he seems like a cool guy. He's very down to earth. He talked about many things. And as he talked about Algomint with a smile on his face, I had a smile on my face. And I'm going to show you why. Look at his face, man. He was smiling the whole time he was talking about Algomint, because Algomint, the future of Algomint is bright, man. Bright. And so much value is going to be coming to this blockchain. And with the Goldmint governance token, you will be able to have a say-so in what cryptocurrencies and what blockchains get ported over to Algorand. It's crazy, you know? I'm bullish on Algorand. And so it only makes sense to me to be able to have a say-so, you know? All us XRP, if you're an XRP investor, you should tag Algomint and tell them you want to see Go XRP. I want to see Go XRP on the Algorand blockchain. I want to be able to leverage my XRP in AlgoFi. That's the future. Let's jump into this information, you guys. Follow Algorand on Twitter at Algorand, world's first open source, permissionless, pure proof of stake blockchain protocol designed for the future of finance, founded by Silvio McCallie. Hashtag FutureFi. Algorand has over 254,000 followers. Follow Algomint on Twitter at Algomint_IO. Algomint brings Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stablecoins to Algorand, and that's just the beginning. You should check out their Medium, Discord, and LinkedIn links on their website. Based out of Australia, Algomint has over 17,000 followers on Twitter. Go Algomint, go Mint, man. Follow Michael Cotton on Twitter at Michael D. Cotton, building infrastructure for a digital finance future. Co-founder of Meld Ventures, Algomint, and Meld Gold, man. Am I following him? Yeah, I'm following him. Michael Cotton has over 2,500 followers on Twitter. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at RPUReloaded so you can get my latest updates and retweets of things that I think are interesting in the crypto space. Alright guys, I'm just going to show you two articles real quick and then I'm getting out of here. So, this is from November 3rd, 2021. I've been following Algomint for a couple of months. So, Algomint will make Bitcoin carbon negative, partnering with the Algorand Foundation and Netto. This is big. Like, this is already done. Like, we already have talks going on, you know, saying that Bitcoin takes up too much energy. We just seen Chris Larson come out and call for Bitcoin's code to be changed, right? Algomint has come up with a process to utilize the store value of Bitcoin while also reducing the fees and not relying on proof of work. I mean, this is big, because we're all about, the society is all about climate change now, right? And so I think that Bitcoin may still be around in the future. It's just not going to exist in its current state. And Algorand and Algomint have already brought that into fruition. It's crazy. Now, Algomint have today announced their commitment and intention to ensure that every Bitcoin coming to Algorand through the Algomint bridging platform will be net carbon negative. You see that? This is big for all the climate change people out there. This will be facilitated through a partnership with the Algorand Foundation and Neto, an ecosystem of dApps for doing good built on Algorand, who are providing assistance to many global entities for similar carbon negative initiatives. In the interview, Michael Cotton says that, they work very closely with a lot of different entities within the Algorand ecosystem. And Michael Cotton talked about El Salvador. Now, there was a lot of hoopla when the president of El Salvador, Bukele, announced that he was going to use Bitcoin as a national currency, right? The IMF came out and scolded them. And they said they were going to harvest the energy from the volcanoes to mine Bitcoin. I talked about this in my Algorand master plan video. But what didn't get publicized as much in the news was that Algorand had been adopted for El Salvador's government infrastructure. And in this interview, Michael Cotton talked about El Salvador and how El Salvador's entire infrastructure is on Algorand, and the Bitcoins that they have are running on Algorand. So they're using Go BTCs. And he said that their Bitcoin wallet is built with Algorand infrastructure. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Mind blowing. Let's keep going. To achieve this, Algomint will use Neto to neutralize the carbon emissions created by the Bitcoin minting process with minted Go BTC assets, allowing them to enjoy carbon neutrality, which is native to the Algorand network. Neto provides Algomint with Neto Zero tokens, an Algorand standard asset. Each Neto Zero represents 1 ton of CO2 removed from the atmosphere, and 2 are needed to decarbonize 1 Bitcoin. Wow. Neto Zero neutralization involves CO2 removal activities in Europe. Carbon removal is far more credible and effective than carbon offsetting, and Algomint takes the industry lead in neutralizing Bitcoin. See that? Algomint takes the industry lead. The industry lead. We're at the forefront. If you're investing in Algomint, you're at the forefront in neutralizing Bitcoin. Algorand to the moon. Algomint to the moon. The Algorand network was designed from the ground up to be a low energy consuming platform built for a long-term sustainable future. To further ensure that Algorand is the optimal choice for innovators who wish to build in a sustainable way, the Algorand blockchain has committed to being carbon negative today and into the future. You can read here for more information on this commitment, and Algorand offsets its already minute energy footprint. The Algorand Foundation has also shown their support for the Algomint project by committing to provide grant support for the cost of these carbon credits. Environmental sustainability and social impact has been an important part of our DNA as an Algorand-based project. So we are very excited about this strategic partnership that moves us one step further towards where we want to be, said Algomint co-founder Michael Cotton. We would like to give our thanks to the Algorand Foundation, who continue to display strong support for our project and for their willingness to engage in this deeply meaningful partnership. The team is working very hard behind the scenes in preparation for our mainnet launch, and this integration with a climate offsetting partner will certainly be another great step forward in that process. So the mainnet, the token is already launched. It launched on the 30th of March. So it's tradable. You can get Algomint right now. You can get it on Tinyman, AlgoFi, and PacFi. And eventually, you will be able to get Algomint on centralized exchanges such as MEXC Global. Now, the Algorand Foundation is excited to support Algomint in their initiative approach to ensuring that all Go BTC wrapped Bitcoin tokens being traded on the Algorand platform are carbon neutral and contributing to the sustainable approach of the Algorand ecosystem, said Algorand Foundation CEO Sean Lee. This novel approach sets a new challenge for all synthetic tokens that will trade on Algorand from other proof-of-work chains. Can they too be carbon neutral? Those interested in the Algomint platform should express their interest by getting in touch via joining Algomint's Telegram group and chat to the helpful moderators within. So yeah, you should join their Telegram group and you should follow them on Twitter. Now, second article I want to show you. I was already skimming through it before I was recording this video. Now, this was November 29th, 2021. Algomint opens BTC and Ethereum floodgates to Algorand, the blockchain best poised for mass adoption. You see that? Algorand is best poised for mass adoption. Let's go. Algorand to the moon. Now, in November 2021, Algomint launched its mainnet on Algorand, enabling interoperability with a gateway bridge between Bitcoin and Ethereum networks and Algorand. Algorand is an open source blockchain equipped to serve a wide array of global use cases, given its superior performance, scalability, security, stability, and functionality, and has proven its robustness as the platform of choice for a wave of adoption. You see that? It has proven its robustness as the platform of choice for a wave of adoption that spans from DeFi innovation to gaming to national initiatives in El Salvador, Bermuda, Colombia, Italy, and more. And more. Global, worldwide adoption with Algorand. It's already happening. And Algorand is only like 99 cents right now. Crazy. The launch of Algomint marks yet another milestone towards the inevitable cryptocurrency mainstream adoption, as it removes the speed and cost hurdles for BTC and Ethereum in everyday use by implementing their synthetic versions on Algorand, while the users retain and enjoy the store value properties of the original assets. Like, when I transferred some BTC from a DeFi platform to my wallet, that cost me $20. And one time I deposited some Bitcoin into a DeFi app and then wanted to withdraw it back to my wallet. But my Bitcoin address, I believe, was like native SegWit, and the DeFi platform said they couldn't withdraw to a native SegWit address. That's crazy because I deposited from this native SegWit address, right? So I had to do like a transfer, 2 separate transfers. I had to go from the DeFi app to Binance US, and then from Binance US to my wallet. That's crazy. And doing that just to get my Bitcoin back into my wallet cost me $40. That's crazy. That's too much money. That's too much money in fees, man. That's outrageous. And with Algorand, you will be able to use the store value of your BTC while using the cheap and efficient fees of Algorand. Algorand's fees are 0.001 Algo. Now, it opens the floodgates as these assets could now unlock their value potential by reducing transaction costs to almost negligible. You see that? I think 0.001 Algo is like a penny. Less than a penny. Something like that. So cheap. So cheap. Imagine being able to transfer like $50,000, $100,000, whatever, worth of Ethereum across the Algorand blockchain for a penny. You know? Almost free at that point. You know? Partaking in a flourishing DeFi ecosystem. This is the dawn. 2022 is the dawn of Algorand DeFi and finding powerful use cases. Algorand brings together traditional and decentralized finance, facilitating the unprecedented tide of asset value transfer under the backdrop of historical hyperinflation caused by unsolvable financial challenges of our time. This is going to be big, especially in developing nations like El Salvador, you know? They'll be able to use Bitcoin and Ethereum, which have pretty high stores of value, you know, compared to fiat currency. And they'll be able to leverage those assets in DeFi, like AlgoFi and other money markets that will eventually develop on the Algorand blockchain. Now, Algorand brings together, I'm going to just say this one more time. Algorand brings together traditional and decentralized finance, facilitating the unprecedented tide of asset value transfer under the backdrop of historical hyperinflation solved by unsolvable financial challenges of our time. And we're experiencing historical inflation as well, so you might want to take advantage of this. Now, a little background about Algomint. Algomint, the golden bridge to DeFi. That's what's up. Decentralized finance has experienced enormous growth in the past 2 years, with Bitcoin and Ethereum being the most widely used cryptocurrencies. However, as on-chain activities ramped up, scalability issues and design restrictions severely limited the value potential. Currently, only 1.7% of Bitcoin is leveraged for DeFi activities because it costs too much. It costs too much just to move it around. These challenges have triggered the renaissance of next generation layer 1 blockchains with enhanced technology and better performance. Among the contenders, Algorand has stood out for its superior capability of solving the famous blockchain trilemma, achieving security, scalability, and decentralization all at the same time, making it the ideal choice for crypto mass adoption. You see that? Making it the ideal choice for crypto mass adoption. Like, this is the third time I done seen mass adoption in this article. I think they're trying to tell me that Algorand is the ideal choice for crypto mass adoption. Right? Via connecting the cryptoverse with the general public and the financial institutions behind them. Guys, Algomint has a lot of money behind it, a lot of venture capitalist funds, and the Algorand Foundation. They're working very closely with other entities in the Algorand ecosystem. Now, historically, the Bitcoin and Ethereum networks and Algorand are siloed ecosystems with hardly any synergy. This is about to change thanks to Algomint stepping into this role as the preeminent Algorand-based bridge. You see that? Bridging the world's most popular assets to the next generation platform and unlocking their full potential for DeFi activities. This platform works by locking BTC or Ethereum as collateral and minting synthetic assets one-to-one on Algorand called Go BTC and Go ETH. So each asset is backed by one asset. So you know that the supply of Go ETH and Go BTC is transparent and it's backed, you know? There won't be a bunch of Go BTC and Go ETH printed up out of thin air. So the original BTC and or ETH is stored in secure vaults of the leading custodian company Copper. The newly minted Algorand standard asset is then tethered to the value of the original assets. This allows users to trade on the Algorand platform and enjoy all its inherent benefits, while also being able to withdraw their assets by burning them at any time. So you can get your assets back whenever you're ready. You know, you get the original asset back because it's stored in the vault, you know? And each asset is backed one-to-one. So the risks are pretty low. Now, Algomint intends to play a central role in the growth of the Algorand DeFi ecosystem. A central role. And we have a central role by investing in Algomint. Let's go. The most prevalent benefits of using Algorand for DeFi includes its rapid, low-cost transactions, high level of security, and environmentally conscious properties. Carbon negative. A green blockchain. High transaction volumes are well suited for Algorand, which finalizes transactions in just 4 seconds, with the plan of upgrading to 46,000 transactions per second. Wow. That's way more than I heard last time. Like last time I was in like one of those Twitter spaces with the Algorand team and they was talking about upgrading to 10,000 transactions per second. But now Algorand is now able to scale up to 46,000 transactions per second. That's crazy. Now in comparison, other popular blockchains can take as long as 10 minutes to an hour. Algorand charges nearly negligible transaction fees at only 0.001 algo per transaction, or less than a penny. Look at that. You see that? Less than 0.002 USD at the time of writing. That's so cheap. Less than a penny. Imagine being able to move $1 million worth of Ethereum or $1 million worth of Aave on the Algorand blockchain for less than a penny. That's crazy. A significant improvement compared to network fees elsewhere, which may run into the hundreds of dollars for simple transactions. Furthermore, the pure proof of stake consensus model also makes Algorand incredibly secure, and in turn, it means limitless value can be held and transacted on chain. Limitless value. You see that? Limitless value. The pure proof of stake randomizes the validators so the hackers don't know who to attack. It's awesome. Algorand is also known for its environmental friendliness with minimal computational power required to run the network, and its small carbon footprint is fully offset through Nettle. In addition, Algomint also neutralizes the carbon footprint of every Bitcoin before it comes onto Algorand through the bridge. So when you use Go BTC, you don't have to validate the blocks with miners. So this is exactly what Chris Larsen was calling for, to change the code of Bitcoin, and it's already happening. It's already in motion through Algorand and Algomint. Now, it is therefore not surprising to see the Algorand DeFi ecosystem rapidly growing with a suite of quality projects set to go live in the coming months, following the launch of Yieldly, Tinyman, and Algomint this year. They span across diverse domains, including cryptocurrency exchanges like Exafinance, Pact, Meld Exchange, lending protocols like XBacked, Folks Finance, AlgoFi, infrastructure providers like PayScript, Meld Gold, Reach, Optio, Anthill, asset management protocol like Prismatic and Pairs Finance, and many others that are at various stages in the planning. Wow, that's amazing. The Algorand ecosystem is so huge, like already. Like, I've only heard about like 2 or 3 of these projects. And so I'm definitely going to be looking into some more of these projects on the Algorand blockchain, because we might as well take advantage, take advantage, leverage, use these tools to your advantage. Now, Algomint is forming strategic partnerships with these outstanding DeFi primitives through channeling the liquidity flow onto Algorand. Algomint will unlock rich potential. You see that? Rich potential. We're going to get rich, potentially, in the ecosystem. Significantly improve capital efficiency for asset holders and facilitate growth opportunities of the protocols that will eventually benefit the entire Algorand community. So here's the Algomint story. Algomint was founded by blockchain and venture capitalists Michael Cotton and AJ Milne of Meld Ventures in early 2021 to increase accessibility to the Algorand blockchain. The Algomint Token Foundation completed a successful seed round in June, raising $1.5 million through this raise. Strategic partnerships were established with leading blockchain investment firms, including Borderless Capital, Valhalla Capital, GSR, LD Capital, Cluster, NGC Ventures, Ellipti, Cosmos, YBB Foundation, Bit Forward Capital, and 8186. Since then, Algomint has assembled a team of best-in-class developers, economists, and business developers to bring the project's vision to life, and has diligently executed on the vision to deliver its promises. Following the launch of their testnet in September for feedback from the Algorand community to help improve the project, Algomint has awarded the bridge. Algomint was awarded the Bridge Super Grant by the Algorand Foundation, marking yet another milestone towards a success that is very much based on the collaborative vision across the Algorand ecosystem. The Algorand mainnet officially launched on November 22nd, with users being able to mint Gold BTC for the first time. This will then be followed by the launch of Go ETH in the week of the 29th of November to celebrate Decipher, an Algorand summit in Miami where major breakthroughs and future developments will be announced. Concurrently, Algomint is working with the Algorand Foundation and DeFi partners on incentive programs to reward early adopters, and news will soon be announced to the community via its social channels including Medium, Twitter, and Telegram. So if you hold Algomint right now, you're going to be able to earn rewards. So be on the lookout for that. So what's next for Algomint? Now, while the mainnet launch is a significant step forward for Algomint, it merely marks the beginning of the platform's exciting future. The development team is currently working on integrating ERC-20 tokens, including Aave, Curve, I believe that's Illuvium, high-yield assets like Helium, and planning to build gold and USD stablecoin baskets for easy swapping and arbitrage. The near-term mission is to create cryptocurrency assets that are secure, trusted, efficient, and widely distributed. In parallel, the team is focusing on upcoming governance token launch, Algomint, that will eventually allow the community to shape the future direction on the platform. So, we're going to have all this value from other blockchains coming over to Algorand. And with the Algomint token, you will have a governance vote, a say-so and what value, what blockchains, what cryptocurrencies, what assets get ported over. How cool is that? The community will be able to shape the future direction of the platform. Everyone who holds Algorand and Algomint will have a say-so. True decentralization. It's crazy. I'm all for it. Now, in parallel, the team is focusing on the upcoming governance token launch, Algomint, that will eventually allow the community to shape the future direction of the platform. The launch is planned for Q1 2022 on an Algorand native launchpad and will soon be listed on centralized and decentralized exchanges after the initial price discovery. So, the token launched on March 30th, and they currently announced that they have plans to launch the token on MEXC Global, which you're going to hear about in this interview as well. So, Algomint is already on to big things, man. And this is just the beginning. Now, as the team pushes forward product version 2, they will enable on-chain custody with fully audited smart contracts to make Algomint a piece of truly decentralized permissionless infrastructure on Algorand. Leveraging the liquidity and traffic, Algomint will also aggregate other DeFi protocols on its interface and develop exciting new functionalities like arbitrage yield staking and exchange routing, etc. So, right now, to use Algomint, I believe you have to be KYC, but eventually in the future, they're going to become fully decentralized. So anybody will be able to have access to that Algorand bridge. The vision is to expand the definition of a bridging gateway and to nourish a prosperous Algorand DeFi ecosystem, which will further supercharge the crypto and broader macroeconomy to unprecedented levels. As can be easily seen, the opening of the floodgates is only the beginning, with a long, exciting journey ahead towards crypto mass adoption. That's the 4th time I've seen mass adoption in this article. Whilst there is no need to be naive about the magnitude of the challenge, Algomint is heading in the right direction with a solid Algorand ecosystem to drive towards this vision together. A little bit about Algomint. Algomint empowers the next generation of DeFi by bridging popular assets like BTC and ETH to Algorand, a feature-fied blockchain protocol with robust technology and pure proof-of-stake consensus mechanism to deliver high-speed and low-cost transactions. Algomint is built by Meld Ventures founders Michael Cotton and AJ Milne, who aspire to create a decentralized future of financial inclusion and freedom. Everything that Joe Biden called for in his executive order. Leveling the playing field. Financial inclusion, banking the unbanked through AlgoFi. Algomint, Algorand, all that. It's crazy, you know? And so, let me know what you think, man. I'm on the hunt. I'm Thanos, searching the Algorand blockchain for utility tokens. These tokens, AlgoFi, Algomint, Algorand, they're like infinity stones, man. And I'm looking for two more. I think the fourth one might be Yieldly. Let me know what you think, man. Because Yieldly is going to be bridging over value from not only Ethereum, but the Binance Smart Chain and Polkadot. So we may see through Algomint, we may see the bridging of Binance tokens and Polkadot tokens. You know, we may see Go Dot. We may see Go BNB. The future is cross-chain interoperability. Let me know what you think about it. I'm finna get out of here. This is RPU, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Hi, I'm Michael from Algomint, and this is 26 Questions with Michael.
Guys, there's so much that you can do at MEXC.com. By registering through the QR code or the link down below, you will reinvent the crypto space for yourself. And not only that, you will also get 20% off your trading fee. So go ahead and sign up today. Also, don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button. Hey, Michael, welcome to the interview. Super excited to have you today. How are you doing?
Well, thanks, Mark, and excited to be here, and thank you for having me.
Likewise. Okay, so our community is excited to ask questions regarding Algomint. They have their questions piled up. I want to hear from you what Algomint is all about, the insights, the depth of the project. And if you're ready, we can go ahead and I can ask you the questions one by one.
Brilliant, mate. Let's do it.
Okay, so starting off with question number one. What was the motive to build this project, and what is the present vision and mission?
So originally, we had set out to build a basic bridge to allow Algorand to interact with other ecosystems. But, as a part of digging into the Algorand tech stack, we really started to appreciate the interoperability technology Algorand was natively developing, which is called state proofs. And what that really meant for us is we started looking at the idea that we could allow Algorand as a full layer one blockchain technology to be a settlement layer for all blockchain ecosystems and allow for low-cost settlements of cross-chain transactions. So even though in theory we're building a bridge, it's going to be a lot more powerful than that once we actually see the implementation of all the features we're building.
Makes sense. Okay, question number two. What is the first thing you would like people to think of when Algomint is mentioned to them?
The simplest version is we are a bridge. I think the more complex version is we're the source of liquidity or the source of best price for future transactions. And that really is because the bridge will act as a cross-chain transaction point. So it won't just look at doing trades in terms of best price to go from USD to ETH, for example. It'll be going from USD in a whole range of different USD tokens to a whole range of different ETH token options across different chains, which gives a lot more power in terms of providing best price for those that want to trade. So, it's a bridge that'll allow access to best price trading.
Okay, sounds good. Can you tell us more about the future proof blockchain and how it will change the blockchain world?
So Algorand, for those that aren't familiar with it, is a fairly new layer one technology. It actually is its third birthday coming up in June. Founded by Silvio Micali, one of the greatest cryptographers and computer scientists to ever live. I won the Turing Award, for example, which is the equivalent of Nobel Peace Prize for computer science. I invented things like zero-knowledge proofs, pseudo-random number generation, and really is the grandfather of cryptographics and in many ways the grandfather of modern-day blockchain technology. So he really was one of the only people in the world that was well-positioned and of a high enough caliber and capability to deliver a blockchain that truly solves the trilemma. And that's really what Algorand does. So for us, we really understood that vision and appreciated that vision. And then building out on that technology meant we're going to be a part of this next revolution of blockchain tech.
Can you tell us about your team members? Are they qualified and professional in their fields? And what are the recruiting qualifications for team members for your project?
So between us, we've got a really vast array of skills from several different industries. Myself, I founded one of the largest gold companies in Australia, founded that straight out of high school when I was 18 and built it into one of the largest companies in Australia, through team members that have been a part of global funds and leading global strategy on both marketing and financial sector, team members that have worked in tech and companies like Tesla, Misa, for example, who worked at Swift and over 10 years experience in the financial sector and marketing. AJ himself actually studied blockchain at MIT under Silvio and a very extensive background inside both the investment and the financial space, also a founder of several projects that have had exits as well. And Harry, our CTO. So a really diverse set of skills and really from high caliber areas outside blockchain that really came in and understood the value that things like Algorand and Algomint could bring.
Very nice. Yeah, it looks like you have a solid team behind this project, and it's very nice that you also ask these types of questions so that our interviews can give you more in depth on who is standing behind the project. And I always like that, transparency in each project. I like when there are photos on the website, when the team is visible, and it certainly gives a lot of credibility for sure. Cool. Moving on with the rest of the questions. So question number 5, what are the full ecosystem tools for future identities and data that Algomint is creating? And with this important data, what areas do you hope to develop and decentralize in the future? What are your plans for this?
So the current version of the bridge is a centralized version, which means it also has KYC, and we're slowly decentralizing that product to do without the KYC component. We think that's a quite important part, especially in these days. But I think what we'll probably see in the future is almost zero knowledge proof KYCs, which we're starting to see some of that technology pioneered now. Not as much of a believer in KYC, and it's not a KYC itself. The issues around individuals not being able to access the right kind of KYC to gain access to different financial systems. And it really creates an environment that's not necessarily inclusive. So we really want to see those kind of issues solved for the future if we are to see something like KYC come in. We're in the middle of moving towards not having to have that as a part of the bridges. So for the moment, we're really focused on delivering the bridging technology in the most powerful way possible. But in the future, as we see KYC potentially become a must, we're going to be looking at how some of the new technologies coming into market can be applied as least intrusive as possible.
Very nice. Are stablecoins available to mint in Algomint? If not, will it be included in the future?
Yes, it will, as in the future, not now. Actually working on something a little bit different. So we're already having a stablecoin basket, and it's one of the key features of the bridge. So rather than just bridging and wrapping singular tokens, we're using this basket functionality where our USD wrap token will actually be represented by a whole range of different USD tokens across a whole range of different blockchains. What this also means is you don't just necessarily have to wrap, you can bridge direct from a native token to a native token. So a really great example is you could deposit Gemini on the Ethereum side into the bridge and actually withdraw USDC on the Algorand side rather than actually having a wrap token. And we think that's going to be a really important part of bridging in the future. And definitely a really great alternative than necessarily wrapping into another token. The only benefit we will have from the wrap token, though, is it removes fragmentation of liquidity. So on the DEXs, for example, rather than having 5 or 6 different USD pairs, you can have the wrap token that represents a whole range of different USD tokens, meaning you'll see stronger depth of liquidity inside different pairings, which will mean pricing will be better, trading will be more powerful. And we really think that's going to be a powerful piece for the future as well.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the hurdles of the blockchain industry, actually, is that, whenever you want to perform a certain transaction, you always have to think, okay, which blockchain is that on? Oh, okay, I don't have tokens here. I have to transfer them. And then you get into this hurdle of paying fees and spending time. And then for crypto users, it's a hurdle. But for non-crypto users, it's like extremely difficult. So yeah, bridging together and making it as smooth as possible so that, anyone pretty much can get into the industry without so many obstacles to overcome is definitely a great push for adoption of the technology, great push for acceptance of the masses and people actually getting it. So I'm definitely with you on that one.
And I think, Mark, too, to add to that, like we'll see ourselves as invisible infrastructure in the future. I think right now, so much of what we do is we go from platform to platform, but I think in the future, we'll be integrated into platforms. So you do have that seamless experience. You want to go use a new play to earn game that's on Algorand or on Solana or on Near or another ecosystem, and you have an asset that's not in the right blockchain, they will instantly bridge it through something like Algomint. Silent, you don't even realize necessarily what's happening into the right kind of token to be then using that application, and then you withdraw back to the native blockchain you actually came from. And we really see that as a really strong part of the future of the kind of infrastructure that Algomint needs to build.
All right. Could you tell us what the difference is between Algomint and Algorand, and how do these two benefit one another?
Algorand is the layer 1 technology, is probably the better place to start. So it is the actual technology that we build upon. So no different to Ethereum or Solana or any of the other different blockchains, Algorand is the same. The actual tech itself is quite different to anything we've seen before. It's a pure proof of stake. For those that haven't dug into Algorand, well worth some research. It's an incredible technology, an incredible team. Algomint is one of the first dApps to be built on top of Algorand. So we're one of the first to actually utilize Algorand blockchain. And for us, the key difference is rather than being at the core blockchain itself and that core piece of infrastructure itself, we will be the connector between the different blockchains. So Algorand connecting into EVM, connecting into Solana's virtual machine. And that'll be our core role, with that later development being providing a bridge for liquidity and transactions between the different blockchains as well.
Question number 8, does Algomint in the future plan on tokenizing any real world assets such as stocks, metals, commodities, or anything like that?
One of the first baskets we will have post USD will actually be gold. So we'll be basketing up a range of different gold tokens that are currently in market. Again, the benefit of this kind of basketing, especially with something like gold, is the ability to leverage Algomint's work in adoption. So a really great example is, say we have our basket of gold, which is called Go Gold, accepted into one of the money markets on Algorand. If you then are accepted into the basket, you gain instant access to that money market through your gold, as long as it's one of the whitelisted tokens that can go into the basket. And then if you look years down the track and say we have something like that gold token accepted at hundreds of locations, if you're a new gold product that's coming out of a particular region that has easier access for on-ramping and off-ramping in that region, you don't have to go to the work of being accepted in hundreds of locations. You just need to be accepted into the basket. Now you have instant access to all of these kind of integrations. And then what that really will bring, I think, will be particularly interesting.
Fantastic. Question number 9. What is Algomint's token? Can you tell us about its functionalities?
Certainly. So the token is called GoMint. It will be a governance token, which sounds reasonably mundane at the moment, but the future of the token really lies in owning the infrastructure itself. That's what we really see the token resulting is having true ownership and control over what this infrastructure will do in the future. I think there's a lot of work for us to do on what does token governance look like. I think it can't be a play to win style scenario, and that's really, I think, a job for the collective blockchain community to come up with different models. We've seen experimentation with things like quadratic voting, but I think we haven't resolved what is an ideal situation for governance yet. But at its core, it'll be a governance token. The token will also allow you to do additional things, such as potentially get reduced fees, get rewards, which will be based around the fees inside the protocol, as well as be able to be multi-chain for that token in the future. So being a bridge, it makes a lot of sense for us to actually have the chain that can fluidly move between all the different blockchains we connect to.
Very well. Will there be Go ERC-20 tokens in the future? Say a developer dApp starts as an ERC-20 but wants to switch later to Algorand. Would Algomint make that bridge?
So we will have our first ERC-20s out in the fairly near future. It's one of the next pieces of the puzzle on the roadmap. So we're actually launching Algo onto Ethereum very shortly. So it'll be launching as an ERC-20 as well. We've got HNT coming from the Helium blockchain. And then after that, we're working on the ERC-20 tokens. And once we really open that ERC-20 bridge up, we'll be able to bring across a lot of different tokens in fairly short amounts of time. It's fairly high on the agenda for us to make that fluid transition from ERC-20 through to Algorand and into other blockchains.
Will we see an Algomint mobile wallet in the future?
I think there's also a very interesting question around what does the future count as, and that can be a long timeline. Core focus at the minute will be more functionality inside the platform before we start looking at the mobile wallet. We do have a mobile friendly version of the platform, but not necessarily a mobile wallet. And I think it'll be more likely we'll probably look at integrating with the wallet experts versus building out our own. And there's some brilliant wallet technology being built on Algorand as well as other chains that we're already partnering with to deliver on the ability to use those wallets to directly interact with Algorand.
Okay. There's a lot of interest in L1s and scalability in general. What are your thoughts on the 2022 evolution, and what do you guys make of the current market condition?
We're seeing definitely turbulent market conditions at the moment. I think where Algorand has a lot of interesting benefits is number one, it's targeting quite a different audience. It's had this approach to global acceptance and global adoption of blockchain as being its core focus. So for those who aren't familiar, for example, all of El Salvador's infrastructure, including all the Bitcoin, for example, is wrapped onto Algorand. So a lot of people don't actually realize that all of that, the Kivo wallet, all of this sort of stuff is built on Algorand technology. So they are bringing on this huge amount of users that haven't been inside the blockchain space before, which I think as we see that bridge of a different kind, which is the bridge from the traditional world into the blockchain world, we are going to see different audience coming into the blockchain and the Algorand ecosystem. So I think that'll mean it'll see different flow of funds into Algorand than what is sort of traditionally you would see in the other blockchain spaces. At the same time, Algorand as a technology is one of the strongest tech stacks and one of the best designed layer one blockchains that we've seen come to market. And it's only just had its upgrade that allows for things like contract calls, expanded on-chain data, which in reality means it can do everything, or within reason, everything an EVM chain can do. We're just on the precipice of seeing Algorand really start to, one, have a huge amount of great products come to market and a huge amount of adoption, but secondly, come fruition of everything it's been building. And then from June onwards, it has a huge incentive program, which I think will be quite interesting because when there's not a lot happening in the other ecosystems, Algorand having this great influx of great tech, great product, and then a huge incentive program, I think we'll really start to see a lot of flow inside the space.
Okay, sounds good. What does Algomint think about solving issues that the DeFi ecosystem still can't solve? Can people and machines trade every day through smart devices that use digital currencies? And how do you see this in the future?
Interesting question. I think what Algorand really helps with is the layer one tech allows you to do a lot of things that couldn't do previously on things like Ethereum. So a really great example with things like 24-hour trading is the ability to have much deeper liquidity because the DEXs can have routing, for example, because traditionally things like transaction speed and transaction time causes a lot of issues around routing a trade. Whereas in something like Algorand, there's no congestion, there's no front running, costs are extremely low and transactions are extremely fast, which means instead of having to have pools with different combinations of assets to allow you to do the exact trade you want to do, you can have much deeper pools in particularly focused areas, and you can route those trades between different pools to achieve the trade you want to do as fast as you would any other transaction at an incredibly low cost and with less slippage than you would traditionally, because you're dealing with much deeper pools than you would be if they were fragmented. So in terms of the future of trading, I think Algorand has a huge advantage for bringing in that next big flow of value. And AMMs I'm a really big believer in, but the AMMs need to be able to withstand, high volume trading to really be functional, have genuine utility and viability. And technology like Algorand is going to make that possible, where you can have a 24-hour clock of trading as different parts of the world come online, and they can trade in volume without seeing the same pricing problems you can see in other ecosystems.
That's very nice. What is the need for Algomint in the current ecosystem, and what problems does the project look to solve? You touched quite a bit on that. Perhaps you have something more to add.
Look, I think the really big one for Algomint is bringing liquidity into Algorand. It's really, for us, it's opening the gate for a whole range of assets to come in and take advantage of Algorand. I think HNT is actually a really great poster child for this. HNT itself, I love Helium. I love the technology. I really love what the guys have been building there. In reality, the technology in terms of the blockchain they've built, it isn't been designed to be built out into a full smart contract ecosystem. It's designed to have a token that has that right utility in the Helium ecosystem. But what it means is once we bridge that into Algorand and you bring that value into Algorand, they can access, incredibly powerful AMMs, they can access money markets, they can access all the value inside the Algorand ecosystem. So for us, it's really working on opening up the gates for those kind of assets that come and adopt and start using a layer one like Algorand that has so much potential.
For now, Algomint has Go BTC, Go Ethereum. What is next? What is the path to adding more assets? Which assets are next and why? What are the challenges to wrapping more assets? Is it just a matter of more engineering work? Quite of a multi-vector question, I must say.
No, so, and look, I know I apologize, I'm going to repeat myself because I did answer a couple of these earlier, but yeah, Go BTC, Go ETH now. We've got Go Algo, which is Algorand, Algo on Ethereum coming up next. We then have Go HNT, which is Helium on Algorand, as well as Go USD and Go Gold. After that, it is a whole range of ERC-20 tokens, and we're really looking at that, top 100 on something like crypto market cap is probably where we should be taking our learnings from. But we're also in talks with things like Algorand themselves, other key stakeholders inside the ecosystem, other projects to say, what assets do you want us to bring in? Because we need those assets to have utility, and we want to really make sure we are creating value. So there is a lot of work going into finding out what should we be bridging. In terms of the tech load, there's definitely a lot to be done. And we have two parallel pieces, which is building in its current form, which is the centralized bridge, and adding more assets, and starting to work on the decentralized component of the bridge. The decentralization is going to be using Algorand state proofs, which is a new technology Algorand itself has been developing, and we'll be one of the first to leverage it, which will take some time. We appreciate there's a huge responsibility to running a decentralized bridge. There's huge risk. So for us, we really want to make sure we're taking our time and getting that right and dedicating a lot of resources to ensuring we do. So it's definitely a matter of scaling the team to do more, but there is a nuance to it. As teams gets bigger, they get harder to manage. You become less efficient. So for us, we're just being really conscious of making sure we're building out the team in the right way to deliver on the best value and the best technology. So it's going to be a 12-month path of iterating, but you'll see new tokens coming constantly.
How many active users does the Algomint platform currently have, and how many users do you expect to use your platform by the end of this year, 2022? What goals have you set for yourselves in this regard? Currently,
we have about 4,000 active users. We've had a far larger number sign up looking to use the platform as we see new apps onboarded. I think, for us, seeing a 10x growth audience is what you expect over this year. But I think potentially, depending on the growth of the ecosystem itself, I think we could see that being a far higher multiplier, especially with things like the huge incentive program we have coming up in middle of this year. So, for us, it's going to have to be conscious of what that additional load on the system looks like and making sure we're prepared for that. Because I think there's a really strong chance we will see really explosive growth as the year goes on and Algorand really starts to flourish.
Moving on then, question number 17. What are the plans of Algomint for reaching more people and increasing their awareness?
So we've really worked incredibly hard and have really deep relationships inside Algorand. So in terms of collaborations, we're working with almost every major platform in the ecosystem. So we're being accepted on the money markets, we're working on joint incentive programs with the DEXs, we're working on the NFT marketplaces accepting our assets. So for example, pricing NFTs in GoETH instead of Algo, which I think is a really great measuring stick for how it's comparing into other ecosystems like Ethereum. So we've really done a brilliant job. I'm obviously biased in saying we've done a brilliant job, but I think we've done a brilliant job inside the Algorand ecosystem. But this is why we're starting to look at bridging things like Helium and starting to access into these new ecosystems and these new audiences, and working with things like the Helium Foundation around how we can bring value to their users inside the Algorand ecosystem. So things like the ability to borrow against HNT in a decentralized way at incredibly low interest costs, and then deploy your borrowings in yield generating functions, or bringing over HNT and then going into liquid staking with that HNT and then taking a synthetic liquid stake to generate income, is ways we're going to be delivering a lot of value to ecosystems outside the Algorand ecosystem, and helping bring them across to join Algorand and use Algomint.
Very well. What's the simple way for the community to get a hold of Algomint?
So we have our launch coming up on the 30th of March. It's going to be a native Algorand launch. So it'll be on all the DEXs inside Algorand, but then we're also going to be listing on MEXC, which you may have gathered from our conversation today. So either option is a great way to do it. If you're already inside the Algorand ecosystem or want to get involved, you can always buy it through one of the DEXs. Otherwise, MEXC will have it available in the very near future, and you can buy it that way.
That's totally cool. Speaking of which, why did you choose to partner with MEXC?
I actually have a really good friend that's worked closely with MEXC for many years, and she recommended, I was really familiar with it. I knew the work they did, and she actually recommended that I meet with them and chat with them. I met with the team and got along really well, and they were really welcoming and really helpful and really excited and believed in the project. And so for us, it was a really very easy decision to form a partnership with MEXC.
Alrighty, and last question for today. Are there any exciting news or updates with regards to Algomint that you would like to share with the users?
We have plenty of constant news coming out. Most of it's revolving around obviously new features and new tokens. The token launch on the 30th of March is probably the most exciting thing happening right now. But we also have a new incentive program going live. So we're actually a part of the Algorand Foundation's incentive program. So we've had almost 1 million algos to provide as incentives to those that are LPing our tokens and participating in different ways with Algomint. But also as a part of our token launch, we've got 3 particularly exclusive NFT from the Black Books team that we're giving away as a part of the token launch. But if you come over to our Telegram or our Twitter and start following Algomint, you'll be able to keep up with all the updates.
And we will drop the links down below in the description box. So for everyone who's watching, you can check that out as well. That wraps it up. The 20 questions from the community to Michael. Thank you so much for answering those, guys. If you saw your question on the screen, that means you are the lucky winner and you can claim your reward by following the instructions also down in the description box. Now, Michael, it is your turn to ask your 6 questions back to the community so they can earn additional rewards.
Okay, brilliant. Question 1, what does Algomint do? Question 2, when is the token launch date? Question 3, where can you purchase the token? Question 4, what's the name of the token? Question 5, which assets do Algomint bridge now? And question 6, what are the strengths of Algorand?
Very well. Guys, if you feel like earning additional rewards, make sure you do your research and comment down below. We will choose the lucky winners based on your replies. That pretty much wraps it up for today. Everyone who's watching, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe to our channel. Michael, thank you so much for coming over today and, providing so much great information about your project, the insights, and very detailed. I love it. And what you're doing is actually for the good of the whole crypto industry, will help simplify things in so many ways. And yeah, I'm really excited for you guys to develop and continue evolving in this direction. So thank you so much for coming. And I hope that we might reconnect in the future and have this conversation once again.
Thanks, Mark. I really appreciate it. Thanks to MEXC for having me, and thanks everyone for listening.
Take care.